Hi everyone, I have a question for you. Do you think that the nerdy movie guy is gonna play on PlayStation, have a drink of water, or review a movie? That's right, we're gonna review a movie. Now, if you think a joke like that is corny, cringy, and just not for you, just not funny at all, then maybe Inside Out 2 is not for you. There is a sequel, Inside Out, it just released, so it's time to feel your feelings and see the new movie. I found a lot of different interesting aspects about this movie, and it was hard to organize my thoughts for a review. So, the first thing I want to tackle is the messages in this movie. There are new emotions for this movie, such as envy, anxiety, embarrassment, and these are emotions that people tackle every day, especially kids, teenagers, people in college. I thought this had a chance to be an extremely relatable movie where people who maybe were kids or were sort of in high school or were in high school who watched the first one, it came out long enough ago, I would assume at least a third, maybe half of the first one's audience could be in high school or adulthood by now. So I thought there'd be a little bit of maturity with the script and the dialogue in this movie, but it just wasn't that. A lot of the jokes were corny, a lot of it was sort of cringy, and I just struggled to find it funny. I know a lot of people did, but I struggled with that one. I sort of guess I just sort of had envy for people watching movies with a decent script. And so then I sort of had embarrassment watching this movie. And I definitely did not have anxiety watching this one. This was an easy watch. This is a very bland, generic script. By all means, don't get me wrong, this movie was not bad. Alright, there's really nothing about this movie that pissed me off. Nothing I thought was wrong, nothing that I thought shouldn't be in this movie. The movie was okay. That's the thing, it was just okay. I thought the concept of as you get older, new emotions start to take over, start to dominate. New emotions they haven't had before. I thought the concept could have been really, really interesting if they took it just a little bit more seriously. But for what it is, if you have kids, they're going to be the target audience for this movie. This movie, I feel like, did not service the original fan base very well, just because I felt like there was no maturity with the character development or the script really at all. What happens in this movie, the way the plot is as Riley is getting new emotions, anxiety sort of wants to take over for all of the others. She wants to dominate, be the main one at the control board, and sort of turn Riley into this new person, all because of it. And I couldn't help but sit there wondering, all the people that go through anxiety is something that is real, something people go through, something people either deal with. Maybe they push it aside, maybe they don't know how to ask for help. I thought this was a very serious thing to have in a movie like this. And I thought it was just interesting that Disney chose to villainize anxiety. So all these people who want have anxiety be represented in this relatable tone, I just thought it was strange that anxiety was villainized. Irregardless, that's how it was in this movie. Anxiety takes all the new emotions, part of her crew, and casts out the other ones, and that's where the other ones are, with joy and anger and fear and disgust. They all have to sort of find their way back to the old brain thing that Riley was and bring it back, and there's all these complications of why it's not easy. And I thought their journey was just sort of generic. The one thing about this plot that I found was interesting as far as the decision for the movie is concerned, Riley had a lot more scenes as a person in this movie than the last one. So that was an interesting side. In this movie, her having a lot more scenes, I feel like people found her side of the movie a lot more relatable than the way the emotions or the new ones were depicted. And that was one thing I thought with how her brain works and how her being is. I thought it was just these very mature concepts that maybe people in high school or adulthood, they would understand that. But the kids laughing at the corny jokes, they're not going to get it. So it just felt like maybe their target audience, maybe they didn't know who they wanted their target audience to be. It felt like the decision-making process throughout its filming, it felt like creative decisions kept changing. I don't know if that's really true. That's just the vibe I was getting just watching the movie. So, as I said, by all means, this was not a terrible movie. I just thought for someone sort of peeling apart what this movie is sort of underlayers, I found just confusing, honestly. This movie does end on a good note, though, where I thought the ending wrapped up to be in a relatable sense. The way it ends is there is no one emotion dominating. They discover they are all needed and they all make a person whole. So that concept was great. That was something people can follow. It's something that sort of feels matured from the last one, and something that feels like can be a satisfying end of the franchise or a new beginning. So I really did like the ending a lot. I thought they ended it how they should have, and I love the creative choices that went into how it ended. So with that being said, this movie was just a little bit too comedic for me to enjoy the way I think children would enjoy. So I just really was expecting a more serious tone. That's just not what this movie is, and that's okay. The movie didn't have to be. But that's my thoughts on this movie. Like I said, I think the representation of what anxiety is kind of spot on. I just don't know why they chose to have it villainized. But then again, there was a happy ending for anxiety where she's not villainized in the end. It just was that way for a while. So it was an interesting movie. There's definitely some confusing aspects to the story of how it progressed and why it progressed the way it did. But all in all, I think they're definitely going to revisit this franchise for a sequel. I think when they wait around for a movie to flop or not make as much as expected, they'll revisit the third, which almost feels like what they did with this one. But I think there was a lot of good implications of this movie, and I think there were impactful choices made that sort of earns its spot as being an existing sequel. So we'll see where it goes from there. Disney movies have been sort of 50-50 lately. There's some I've enjoyed, some I haven't. This one I did. I just didn't love it, but it was okay. So let me know what your thoughts are. I'm hearing a lot of divided opinions of this one, and I look forward to hearing what you guys think about it. Thanks for watching.